remember my really good friend, my ace boon coon, she used to hear me tell stories. And she would be like, and she revealed this later. She was like, I would say to myself, nah, she must be leaving something out. There's no way this could have happened this way.
Right.
She must be leaving something out. Until I got kicked out that Emmys party.
What'd you do to get kicked out the Emmys party? Damn, we can't take you nowhere. What'd you do?
I go to a lot of places because I'm lovable and people like me and I'm delightful. I am delightful.
What did you do?
I arrived.
Okay, you arrived. Okay, you're inside.
No. So here's how it went. So because Hollywood is just so inundated with whiteness, there was this conglomeration of folks that came together to say, you know what, we're going to have a Black Emmys party. Because, have you been to the Emmys parties?
I've never been to an Emmys party.
So, they're just, they're just very blah. Like, it's just a bunch of people sitting around like, am I right?
Yeah.
Am I right? Oh, my God. Kirsten. Like, that's the vibe.
Yeah.
But, when we party, we want to have a little bit more fun to it. Call D nice. So... What up, Derek? So, in 2018 was the first one where they had a Black Emmys party. Mm-hmm. So basically, it's like everybody who done been to all them other parties.
Come in this one.
Yes. And I went to that party with Jill Scott. And one of the people that planned that party was Issa Rae's publicist, Vanessa Anderson. So she was one of the planners of the party. But there's a bunch of people involved in planning this party.
Correct.
So I show up with Jill and Jill's manager was like, hey, can we, and I remember hearing Vanessa go like, oh, come on, Amanda. Mind you, I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing wrong right here. Right. Like I'm just standing with Jill Scott. Right. But nonetheless, we came to the party. We had a great time. So, and I said to Issa, like, I don't know what's going on with your publicist, but like she got something wrong. She got a problem with me. And she was like, that's between y'all.
Okay.
I said, well, it's not really between y'all because I don't have a problem with her.
Right.
But she seems to have a problem with me. And she was like, that's none of my business.
Okay.
So now next year is 2019. And it was interesting because in 2018, it was packed like a dick in front of that place. In 2019, there was like nobody there. But I was at the HBO party and every Black person I saw, I would tell them, make sure you go to the Black Emmys party because I am about creating community and I want us to be together.
Right.
So I pull up with my homegirl, Kathia, and Kendrick Sampson, who's on Insecure. You know the show where I don't have any friends?
Yeah.
So I pull up with Kendrick Sampson. So we get to the door, and I learned later that she just is white passing, but this is a Mexican girl, but like she looked like a white girl. Mm-hmm. Okay? So she at the door for the
Emmys.
For what kind of party?
Emmys Black Party.
There you go. So she tells us, you can go in, you can't go in. Now I'm thinking she's talking to my friend because my friend is a realtor.
Right.
And she says, no, you can't go in. And I said, well, why can't I go in? She says, you're just on the list to not be able to go in. Now, I had also been invited to this party directly by Jesse Williams.
Right.
So Jesse Williams had texted me and said, please come to the Black Emmys party.
Right.
Okay. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna come to the Black Emmys party. Yeah, of course. Like that's what I am about. So I come to the party and I'm like, okay, why am I not being let in? Kendrick says, I'm gonna go look. I'm gonna go look around and see why you're not being let in. Mm-hmm. Well, baby, I'm not standing outside no party.
Right.
So I head out. But then I'm stopped by this brother, Joey Harris, who works with Janet Jackson. Joey's like one of these people who's just always, his disposition is just always like glowing. It's kind of like Jordan.
Right.
So he's like, where you going? I'm like, oh, they said they won't let me in the party. He's like, absolutely not. Come on back. We gonna get you in this party. Okay. So we come back. And so this is an example of someone trying to protect and look out, right? So he brings me back and he's like, why are you not letting her in the party? By the way, at this time, I'm hosting Bring the Funny on NBC.
Right.
There is a billboard the size of a hotel 2 blocks away with me and my co-stars on the show, Chrissy Teigen, Jeff Foxworthy, and Kenan Thompson. And can I just put a pin in this really quick to give them their props? I had a real hard time on Insecure, and I'll get to that, but being on this show was so affirming because everyone there was so just happy to be happy. And I hadn't experienced that on that set. Like from the showrunner to the writers to my stage manager, Roger, to my co-stars, like I just got to be myself.
Right.
And it really let me know it's not you, it's the environment. And I don't get to talk enough about like the positive shit because people are always so attracted to the negative.
Yeah.
But I remember day one, Chrissy Teigen, we had to do rehearsals for the first day and they had me in these stilettos, Shannon. Oh my God. Like I would have had to go in the whirlpool. Yes, the feet were crying. And I had an injury from these fucking stilettos. And the next day, Chrissy Teigen brought a foot massage from Sharper Image and left it in my dressing room for the duration of the shoot. Like that's the kind of people, you know, just generous for no reason, right? And we just had a blast. We had such a good time. And I remember Jeff Foxworthy one time, they wanted us to do this ad where we had to pass around a drink. And I don't drink, so it's like, I don't mind drinks being around, but like me pretending like I drink ain't my jive.
Right.
So I was like, I just don't feel comfortable doing this. Now it becomes a thing. This is how I get labeled difficult. Because we didn't get any prep for this, but you need to go along with whatever they give you. Didn't you know that? Whatever they give you, you're supposed to do.
No.
Well, when you're a woman, it's even more, shh, quit stirring up trouble. So Jeff Foxworthy saw shit going left and he stepped in and he said, yeah, I don't feel comfortable with it either.
Wow.
He used his fame, his white manness, you know, he used his disposition to just take the heat off me. He said, I got you. To this day, I really want to do a show with Jeff Foxworthy. We would just like fish and talk shit. Like that's a goal I want to do. Let me know if you want to produce it.
You ever been fishing?
I've been present while someone is fishing, but I have not been given a rod.
So you hadn't had a rod or a pole in your hand? So
but I have dated men from the South. I have been present and had crappie cooked for me, yes.
Oh, okay. So.
Yes.
So I think you'd be more of a shore fisherman, you know, on the land.
I can't be in the boat?
Lord,
I'm generally asking.
Yeah, but I'm saying we go baby step. We go baby step. Yeah,
it's harder in the boat than on the land.
Yeah, probably so.
Really?
Because you're not as now. It all depends.
I thought there were more fish in the center.
There are more fish. Yeah, but when they go way out there, they're normally fishing for a particular type of fish. Like when you're on the shore, you fish for anything to bite: catfish, crappie, you know, perch, bass. But normally when you go out, you fish for, you know, maybe you're trying to catch tuna, you caught branzino, something like that. Tuna.
Snapper?
Yes.
Okay. I'm into it.
You know about fish, you just never actually had a rod in your hand and like brought it in.
So I am, I hyperfixate. So I know a lot about a lot of things because I become
immersed.
Yes. So like I'm a scuba diver, so I know a lot about fish. And then at one point it was like, I'm gonna learn everything I know about dogs. And now I'm gonna learn everything I need to know about Game of Thrones. I'm gonna learn everything I need to know about, you know, NCAA football. Like, I mean, like, but I do know a lot about fish.
So you say you
because I'm in the middle of a story and sometimes I veer off, but I always come back.
Because I want to make sure we get to your insecure role.
So I just wanted to shout that out because Bring the Funny was a beautiful experience and it was super duper dope. So when we're here and Joey Harris is trying to get me in this party, the white girl says again, the white passing girl says again, yeah, no, she can't come to the party. So Joey's like, let me go inside and figure out what's going on. Again, I'm not about to stand out here.
Right.
So I start to walk away again, and now Elijah Kelly comes out. He's like, hey, where you going? I said, they not trying to let me in this party that I was invited to.
Right.
By Jesse Williams.
Did you attempt to call Jesse?
Did I attempt to call Jesse? I texted him.
Okay.
But he's in a party.
Right.
You know, so I texted him. So then Elijah is like, well, I'm one of the planners of the party. So they can't stop they can't stop me from bringing you in.
Right.
So he starts to bring me in and homegirl grabs my arm. But I remember when I told you I've been a New Yorker since I was 12?
Uh-oh.
I had to shake that off.
Yeah. Lose me.
Yeah. Crazy. So we go in the party and I go and sit down. No, sorry. I go in the party, I go by the bar. My homegirl goes to the bathroom. I'm standing by the bar and a security guard approaches me.
Uh-oh.
A security guard your size approaches me. and says, hey, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. And I said, well, why do I need to leave? And he said, because you're being asked to leave. I said, well, who's asking me to leave? He said, well, let me go find out.
Well, why he? Well, I mean, you came and say something. They're asking you to leave, and you don't know who's asking me to leave. You got to go find out.
He was given an order.
Yeah.
So now he comes back, and he says, Vanessa Anderson is asking you to leave. I said, well, you need to find Vanessa and have her come tell me herself.
Is that Issa Rae's publicist?
Yes. I said, well, you need to have Vanessa come and find me and tell me herself. So he then leaves again and comes back with 3 other men. And one of the men now is a brother, and he's walking towards me cursing. So he's literally walking towards me saying, you need to get the out of here. You need to leave. And I'm like, mind you, I'm dressed down, honey, okay? And he's like, you need to leave. Now, Kathia was in the bathroom. She's now just come up. And I'm looking around, and I can see people seeing the ruckus, right? So I'm like, why do I have to leave? Because we said so. So there's like violent energy and language coming towards me, right? I ain't no sucker, okay? But I'm also not stupid. I can't fight for men. Right. So, like, I mean,
right.
So the first one, who was kind, he had come up right here, but then the other 3 were right here. So I have to realize I've lost this fight. So I pivot to leave, but I pivot really fast because I'm going to still say my mother piece. So when I pivot and I say, I pivot to go, you, I guess they thought I was about to do something. So the white guy steps in between me and the brother and chest bumps me and throws me back.
Right.
So now this is an assault because I hadn't raised my hand to do anything to anybody. So luckily I'm nimble in a heel. So but now it's like, now I've been assaulted. So your natural response. So I'm about to go Super Saiyan on these motherfuckers. It's Goku over here. I'm like, Yeah. And I hear in one ear, I hear the security guard saying, please, Amanda, don't do it. And it feels like, please, Miss Celia, don't do it. Don't be like me, Miss Celia. Don't be like Miss Sophia. And then in the other ear, I have my homegirl who's from the Bronx like, what the is going on? This is some bullshit. And all I'm hearing is beep. But I look around and I see nobody coming to my aid. All these agents and people that I see around. Now, none of them are Insecure. None of them are the actors from Insecure. But there's people whose faces I still remember. And they will not get a hug in a party either. I just refused somebody a hug the other day for this. And I realized, like, you got to go. So we walk outside and the security guard says to me, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm just doing my job. And I said, I feel you, but you have to ask yourself, is it worth doing a job that makes you go against your moral compass? And he was like, damn. So I hope he left that job because he could tell that he was mixed up in some bullshit. So we're in a back alley, like waiting for a car, and I'm crying because this feels like, I've been humiliated and I didn't do nothing. And that was the night that me and my homegirl became that became my sister, because she was like, when you would tell me that shit would happen to you, I would think she must be keeping something out.
Right.
But I literally just watched you do nothing. You literally just came somewhere you were invited.
Right.
And even though you tried to leave, multiple people said, no, you belong here. Multiple people. Another person on this team said, you belong here, so I'm bringing you in here. And then when I tell the story on my Instagram and on my podcast, it ends up getting turned into this whole other thing of you don't belong here. Amanda Seales doesn't belong here. And that's the thing, that's a narrative that has come about. Like,
that's been perpetuated.
Yes, I don't belong in these places. And what ended up happening 2 days later is that I got a call from Issa. And she called me and said, hey, I heard what happened this weekend. I just want you to know I have nothing to do with it. Would you be willing to talk to Vanessa?
No, I tried to talk to Vanessa at the party. She 2 days too late.
So I've never talked about this publicly. Because it has always been incredibly important to me to protect Issa. Because I know that Issa is doing something within this business that so few people get to do. And it's not something I desire to do. Like, I'm not interested in getting $100 million production deal. Like, that's not a life that I want for myself. But I know that her role is very important. And so I've always protected Issa. However, there's just been enough instances at this point where I should have been protected by Issa and I wasn't. And one of my biggest problems that we have discussed several times in this interview is that I think people are going to show up for me the way I show up for them. And now it's at a point where my protecting of Issa has become turned on to me and something that people are using against me. There's a whole narrative that is completely false that people keep spinning. They keep saying, that I'm this mean girl on this set, that I harmed these people on this set. I just want to point out something very basic. How can I be a mean girl on a set that ain't my set? How? It's your show. You are my boss. I don't even have the capacity to be the mean girl here.
Right.
Because you can fire me. So there's no way for me to be a mean girl in this situation. And I know some people that may buck up against like the confirmation bias that they've created, but it simply is the truth. When I got to that show, I had a show on Issa's website on YouTube. I had my show Get Your Life. And when it came out on her YouTube, unfortunately, the press picked it up as Issa Rae's new show.
Right.
But she didn't do anything except put it on her site. Like,
right.
I put all my money into it. I wrote it. I starred in it, etc. And so I said, hey, would you mind, tweeting to correct this? And she just wouldn't. She wouldn't promote any of the shows, and I just felt like that was unfortunate, but it didn't change my view of her character. Like, it just let me know, like, okay, this is how she do business. But in that time, her publicist was interacting with me and was from just day one, just so acerbic, like just vitrolic for no reason, to the point where Issa's business manager had to say to the publicist, like, can you please try and be kinder to Amanda? She's like a talent on our channel.
You have no reason why she would treat you, behave?
So, Issa says, would you talk to Vanessa?
No.
I said, sure. You know why?
Why?
Who's my boss? Who's my boss in this situation?
Well, Issa's the boss.
And where do I have to go back to work?
Insecure.
So what's the game you talked about?
You had to play the game. But hold on. But there was a situation earlier, Amanda, where she said, that ain't my business. Y'all need to handle that. Now she wants you to talk to her.
You're good at math. You good at math, Sharpe. Shannon Sharpe.
I'm just saying, because you like...
You can't spell Sharpton without Sharpe now.
Man, so, okay, you have...
So I take the call.
You should have said, I want to meet face to face. I want to look a woman. I like to look a person in the eye.
My feelings were hurt. My feelings were hurt. I just got assaulted in a party for Black people in Hollywood. Mm-hmm. And I've been in Hollywood longer than majority of the people in this fucking party.
Right.
My feelings are hurt.
Okay, you take the call. Hello?
Hi, Amanda. This is Vanessa. I just want you to know that, so none of this has anything to do with Issa. That's the first thing she says. None of this has anything to do with Issa. So I just want you to know that. But I do want you to understand that it was me who kicked you out the party. Okay. So I just want you to know that the reason I kicked you out the party is because I don't like you. Okay. Well, that's all I need to know. There's nothing else for us to talk about. And I hang up. She calls me back immediately. Why'd you hang up? I said, because there's nothing else for us to talk about. She says, don't you want to know why I don't like you?
No, not actually. Actually, I don't.
No, I don't, because it's none of my business. I've never done anything to you. And for you to put me in harm's way off of literally nothing means that I don't need to talk to you about why you don't like me. You need to talk to your therapist about why you don't like me. And I hung up the phone.
She called back?
No, she called around. She starts a smear campaign.
Oh. So this whole time, your boss, and I don't do the gossip thing. So have you ever had a conversation with Issa about this situation, about her publicist?
You're saying since this situation?
At any point.
Well, I had that one time where I said to you.
Yeah, and she said, well, that y'all need to work that out. That ain't got nothing to do with me.
So now after this conversation with the publicist, and I get off the phone, I start getting word that she is going around to the different publications and different people, because it starts coming back to me. Mm-hmm. And she's going around saying that I was in danger of getting fired from Insecure, which honestly, I don't even know if that was true or not, but that had never been brought to my attention. She starts going around saying that I got in a fight at the party. She starts going around saying that I peed on the floor at the party.
What are you, a puppy?
I mean, I got to move it to the side. Like, what are we talking about?
So let me ask you this.
So, well,
now,
I feel like I'm going to answer your question.
Okay.
So Issa then calls me again and says, hey, I just want to know if this is going to be a problem on set. Because now this is going on for 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. And this going viral, earlier in the conversation, you were like, why do you care if people who don't know you, mm-hmm. like, are saying mean things about you? And it's like, I wish I had that. And I'm at a point in my life where I'm there. No. But it's really up when the pylon happens and it has nothing to do with reality. Like, I don't even mind a pylon if it's something I really did.
Right.
This situation, I'm like, how am I the villain in this situation? Well, you shouldn't have gone to her party because it was her party. Well, it's not just her party. There's several people at the party. It's not like I crashed her baby shower.
Right.
But also I'm looking at Issa because it's like, this is your responsibility. We are both your employees. Mm-hmm. And this is a part of leadership. This is the important part of leadership. And that's what makes leadership so annoying, is you got to manage people.
Yes, you do.
And personalities. And
yes. It's a very difficult task.
But it is par for the course.
Yes, but that's why you got the 100 million or whatever you got, is to manage your employees.
So I said, listen, I am not saying that it's going to be a problem on set, but I do think it is a problem that you don't feel that you need to step in. And she was like, well, then we just have a difference in opinion. Like, this is between y'all. This is between y'all.
Well, if it was between us, why'd you intervene and say that she wanted to call her, I needed to talk to her, if you felt it was just between us? Because you interjected yourself into that. If it's between two people, I shouldn't have interference from someone else to say we need to get together. The two people, either she reaches out to me or I reach out to her. I don't need you to intervene. But you felt the need to intervene in that, but now you don't feel the intervention to go any further. Oh, sorry.
So I'm also promoting my book.
Right.
So this hits me because now the press is canceling. So this is now affecting me professionally. And I didn't do shit.
Right.
And I don't like you, in my opinion, is not a sufficient reason to sick 4 security guards on me and remove me from a black space.
Right.
Which also begs the question, what the is a black space? Because we like to claim that they're safe spaces, mm-hmm. and, that they're for us. But at this point, black spaces are it's just black faces.
Right.
And that even is, something to do with this pressure that I've been going through. But to stay on course. So now we have to go back to shooting.
Uncomfortable. I'm uncomfortable. And I ain't even on set.
And nobody's saying nothing to me. Everybody knows, because at this time, it's just the women shooting. Everybody knows what's going on. They don't say nothing to me. And that's just fucking mean. It's mean. They don't say nothing to me. And let me tell you, from the beginning, I've been trying with these ladies. Because I want to make community everywhere I go. I done invited them to my house. They didn't come. I brought them gifts. They said thanks. I tried to plan a retreat. They said we don't want to go. I created our group chat for the show. I created game nights for the show.
Nobody participated.
I mean, eventually, but
reluctantly.
But I'm trying to do this, because I think that this is. It's like when I walked in and I was like, I feel like it's my role to make you feel comfortable. Like, I feel like that's my way of getting around this stigma that people like to put on me that ain't got shit to do with how I really exist.
Okay.
And in this situation now, I'm publicly now being like excoriated. You got this earthworm Jim looking nigga, Sarunas, out here talking about, well, no one likes you, so that's why you weren't invited. What's hilarious about that is that we were only in 2 scenes together. So this is not somebody that really knows me. But you know what the other thing is, Shannon Sharpe?
What happened?
This is a brother who ended up having a child with someone on the show. And when he had the child, there was rumors that were going around that he was not claiming the child. Mm-hmm. And so these people had started talking about it. Mm-hmm. But the people that are talking about ain't my people. I'm not involved in it, but I hear it because we on set.
Right.
And then he come around and it's, hey, I don't like that. Mm. I don't like that. It's not honest. So even though that's not my boy, I pull him to the side. I say, Pete, people out here are talking about you behind your back about this situation.
The streets talking.
And I said, listen, this is a small business. So at the end of the day, if you are this child's father, I think you should exclaim it to the rooftops. If you are not, if you are and you don't want to claim this child, I would like for you to just consider rethinking that. Because as somebody with a father that did not show up for me, I really feel like she would really benefit from having a father in her life. Mm-hmm. And he was like, well, why ain't nobody coming to me? I said, I'm literally coming to you right now. And you ain't even my peoples.
Right.
But I don't think it's fair that you're being talked about behind your back by people that you think are your peoples. Mm-hmm. He said, well, thank you for that. That's the same nigga that fixed his mouth to jump on the bandwagon of We Hate Amanda. Because it was a bandwagon. And he wanted to be seen. He thought maybe he was going to get an extra, right. He thought he was going to get an extra scene or something. So now we're on set and I finally say to Issa, so are we just not going to talk about this? Because it's now going on for 3 weeks and my mental health is suffering. Okay. Mm-mm. And it was a tough time. And she's like, well, what do you want to talk about? And I said, listen, this was a terrible experience.
Right.
This was terrible. And I literally cried face to face with her, this is terrible. And she's like, this is the first time she finally says well, I'm sorry that happened to you. It took 3 conversations. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, I'd like to talk to you further because I need you to speak to Vanessa. She is trying to ruin my career. She's like, I don't think so. She's trying to ruin my, so I bring her into the room, I bring her into my trailer, and I had to do another 48 Laws of Power. I sat her on a higher plane than myself so that she can feel as the queen. And in this setting, she is the queen.
Right.
And I say, I don't need nothing from you. So I don't have a reason to lie to you. But the people that work for you, in close quarters, whose names are really attached to you, they will lie to you. And I had to convince her that this is really happening. I'm not making this up. And even if it turns out to be not happening, I still need you to speak to her to deduce what is or isn't.
Right.
So then she finally went and spoke to her. But the damage is done, right? Because now you see how every few years this becomes a thing. And it was started from a lie.
Right.
It was started from a lie. And it's not about convincing people because I don't need to convince nobody of nothing. But I just don't ever feel comfortable with people forming opinions not based on truth. Shannon, I got in trouble for saying nigga on Insecure. I got in trouble for telling a brother he was a revolutionary nigga. In trouble. Literally got pulled aside and was told, we need to talk about the incident that you had.
I guess when you're in corporate, you got to keep it corporate, man.
We say nigga on the show. We say nigga all day on this motherfucking show. And it was a black woman who pulled me to the side. And this brother is tatted from the neck down, eating edibles on set from Detroit. I mean, that's nigga. But I had said to him, because there was a Malcolm X quote in my trailer, and he sets my trailer, my clothes in my trailer. Right. So I came to him, I was like, hey, did you leave that Malcolm X quote in my trailer? And he was like, nah. I was like, damn, you the only revolutionary nigga around here. He was like, I'm not a nigga. And I said, okay, I get it. Who said that? And I kept it moving.
Yeah.
This was the incident. So she's like, we need to talk about the incident. And I said, well,
what incident?
What incident? Well, when you just referred to him as a nigga. And so I referred to him as a revolutionary nigga. It was a compliment.
Right.
Yeah, but when he said he's not a nigga, you didn't take it back. I said, like, you mean like take backsies? I mean, where we at? And she was like, well, I said, but we literally say nigga on this show. Like, literally. She's like, well, you're going to need to apologize to him. But this is the action of like, you need to bow down. People are always trying to get me to like apologize for some shit I didn't do wrong, right, because they feel like I'm too haughty. They feel I'm too sure of myself. They feel like I need to be cut down to size all the time. And the unfortunate part of that is that it's not a reflection of me, it's a reflection of them.
Right.
Because what is it about me that makes you feel small and you want me to get down to your level? Why do you feel small? What's going on with you? Who made you feel that way? That's not fair to you. Come on, rise up. It's in you. You know what I'm saying? Like that's really what that is. So she brings him into my trailer.
You fake apologize.
Cause she there. And I was like, oh, you good? She's like, no, I need to stay in case something happens. What's gonna happen? I look at him, what you think is gonna happen? He's like, I don't know. I was like, oh my God. I said, you know what? I apologize for calling you nigga. I did not intend to offend you. Of course, in my head, what I said was, I should have called you a bitch, but I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I didn't say that. But it felt like shit.
Right.
It felt like shit. So now we got to shoot the car scene where we're driving in Malibu.
Right.
So we in the car and I'm telling them about what happened and I start crying because I'm a sensitive soul and because this felt like another instance where I was being like bullied. And Issa laughed in my motherfucking face as I was crying and said, well, you know, you do have a tone. At the end of season 1, I pulled Issa aside after this. I said, can we go to dinner? I want to take you to dinner. I took her to dinner. I said, I feel like you think I have something against you. And I don't know why you feel that way. Because we had been cool from even before this. Right. She was like, well, no. I said, I feel like you have something against me. And she said, well, I feel like you have something against me. And I was like, based on what? Because again, Shannon, I'm on your show. Right. I can't do nothing. Like, I'm
only to get scenes added if you add them.
I'm in pocket, baby. I can't do nothing. Mm-hmm. So I said, well, why? She said, well, I guess I was looking at you like your character. Am I that good of an actress? She wrote the character, bro. What? And so I said, you know what? So let's clean the slate because that's not. I have nothing against you. I really don't. And if that came off, that was not my intention. But by the end of the show, there were just certain scenarios where I had to really always be the bigger person and be the balm to the situation. And then in season 5, she just came out her face at me one time too many. And I just chose to stop being the bomb because the show was wrapping. It was the end of the season. It was the end of the series. And I'm just not going to keep doing this.
So what did you do?
Nothing. I just stopped communicating.
Oh. I mean, I had Lil Rel, and he says that Issa is like most of her set is with women, camera people, et cetera, and that she's very empowering to women. Oh,
I disagree. She wasn't empowering to me. She didn't feel like she didn't feel like I deserved to be protected. I'm only giving I'm only giving a portion of the situation. Yeah. So, but that was my experience, and nonetheless, I have still always protected her because I felt like it was my responsibility to do so. But it is not.
Can I ask you this? When you received the backlash for the sorority, the AKA, do they understand that this is
I don't know. I never understood that.
Do you feel now that everybody just nitpicks? They just find like, okay, Amanda got on red today. Why she wearing red?
What you think?
I mean,
don't it sound like that?
Is that how you feel?
Absolutely. They are always looking for something. Even these hack writers who were probably paid by APAC, they wrote articles based on tweets. They wrote articles based on not only my tweets, but on other people's tweets. Like, this random person said Amanda needs to change her energy. Black Enterprise wrote an entire article that said Amanda Seales complains that she's not invited into black spaces. Mind you, these are all spaces that I have worked in. And the follow-up line was, but the internet, so they anthropomorphized the entire internet. The internet says Amanda needs to change her energy. I do not need to change my energy. I don't. And all of those spaces, aside from Black Girls Rock, have contacted me. I don't need to change my energy. What needs to change is how we look at energy and how we understand energies that aren't necessarily our own.
Right.
So even as we sat here and we have talked, I have had to understand your energy. And you have asked me to do that. Mm-hmm. And even though it may not be my own, we live in this space together. We live on this earth together. So we have to gain certain abilities to do that. And that requires a lesser ego. That requires curiosity, which I consider to be an indicative of love. It requires humanity. Like, we live in a world that is continuously creating borders to keep people out because we feel like they don't deserve to be here because they're different, or because they love a different kind of person, or they believe in something different, etc. And I am not that kind of person. I've never been that kind of person. And it is so liberating for me to understand that the reasons that people have been telling me. So you're talking about the nitpicking. It's not just nitpicking. They assign something to what they're nitpicking. Mm-hmm. Amanda has a tone because she's mean. Amanda said this because she thinks she's better than other black people. Amanda said what she said because she's nasty. None of these things are true. Mm-hmm. But it feels terrible for people to assign things to you that are not true. And you start to think to yourself, if this is what it's like for me to be myself, then maybe I shouldn't be here. And as somebody who has had a full-on nervous breakdown and been suicidal, it is not to be taken lightly when people attack character without legitimate reasons why, credibility, etc. And I was told that one of these publications, it was told to them, this is the type of thing that can drive someone to take their own life. And they said, don't go there. This is not a game. This whole last month has been such a journey of self by fire, right? Like, I was forced to have this journey of self by fire simply because I wanted to be embraced in spaces that I embrace. Like, there's no scandal. Mm-hmm. I was supposed to go to Howard to do an event, and I was told that Howard rescinded my invitation because of these stories. These stories that have no validity to them and that I have not, been a catalyst to, but they are now, they're proving to be deleterious to, like, my advancement. Oh, Amanda Seales, she was attacking Samaria Rice. What? I asked a valid question that ended up being proven, by the way. I asked a valid question. Don't we think that there's something worth questioning, and why this woman whose son was 100% unjustly killed by the police? Don't we think there's something to be said for, like, why are all these media outlets, like, giving her a platform to accuse all of these people that are the leaders of movements for fraud? And, my problem is also that I think that people understand what I'm saying when I say something. And, like, when I wrote my first book, my uncle, who's a judge in Grenada, he was like, make sure you edit that book like a deposition. Because it's on paper and people cannot read your mind. So say it how you want it to be understood. Yep. Which is difficult in 140 characters.
It is.
But what I was saying with that statement was, why are all of these black media outlets giving a platform without any level of journalism behind it? That is dangerous.
Right.
And they're putting these people, mind you, I don't even Sean King. But again, what am I about? Justice. Right. This is Ma'at, the goddess of truth and justice. Mm-hmm. This is unjustified. He was asked by her brother to raise money. When he got the money and found out that she didn't know, she was given the money. These types of turning this space into a gossip space is dangerous, Shannon. We're trying to make movements and change.
But you do realize that's how social media works. I
Yeah,
don't
no,
have.
I know- no,
I
you're
don't
not
have
wrong.
to be
You're not
qualified.
wrong.
I could be a doctor. I could be a
but I'm not talking about I'm not talking about social media. This is Black Voices and Brio and The Root, etc.
Right.
They were just running with this story because that's how journalism works now. It's just clicks. So in their minds, it seems like, well, if we put this story out, we're going to get the clicks. And then there are going to be follow-ups and we'll get clicks for that.
Right.
And then there's going to be follow-ups. So let's not tell the whole story now.
Right.
Let's string this along like a f***ing soap opera.
Yeah.
It's people's lives. So I was justified in that. People mad at me because I said, you know, if you got Nikes and Jordans, if you got money for Nikes and Jordans, you got a passport, you're losing. Amanda Seales is a member of the petty bourgeoisie. She is making fun of the disenfranchised passport Black folks. What are you f***ing talking about? Do you understand these people don't want us here? They don't want us here. We need to be able to get out of here.
Right.
When you go all over this world, white people are everywhere. Did you know that? They everywhere, having a great time. And we be thinking that we are only allowed to be here. This world is for us. We are the bottom line. We are the creators. So why would we not make sure that we have access to everything instead of limiting ourselves to consumerism? We can do both.
Yes.
We can do both. And one thing I've had to learn is just like, sometimes I just be talking.
Right.
Now, by the way, the reason I sent that text is because I was sitting in the Paris Charles de Gaulle airport and the nigga I was seeing, I had texted him and said, I got to Paris. I can't wait for you to get your passport and travel with me. And he had said, I don't need a passport. I travel in my mind.
That sounds like somebody said.
And that's what made me send that tweet. But again, no further context. But people do nitpick. And it sucks because you start to believe the lies that people tell you about yourself. And then you start to turn into the person that they are accusing you of being. They want you to be somebody who doesn't give a f***. They want you to be somebody who doesn't care if you hurt people. And I will say that most people don't get the opportunity to do a blanket apology. But since I have it, I'll take it. I apologize to anybody that I have unwillingly caused any level of discomfort. That's never my goal. Never my goal. And anyone who's taking that apology and knowing that it's not for you, because it wasn't for you.
Considering what's been the way you've been portrayed, and you said, Issa said, well, your character, I believe that you were your character considering she wrote the character. Do you ever get afraid of being typecast?
No, because I think everybody gets afraid of being typecast. I mean, especially like if you light skin, like there's in Black spaces, oftentimes it's like, okay, you're going to play like the bougie light skin girl,
right.
You know? I think that there's something to be said for like, I get accused of being colorist based on stuff like that, you know, like, which I am 1000% not. By any means. I think in the past, there were things that were like misinterpreted that it's not even that they've typecast me like on camera. It's like I'm typecast in life.
Right.
Right. So like people like, I remember on a Breakfast Club interview, they asked me like, what are reasons people don't like you? This is always the conversation. What are reasons people don't like you? So I went down the list of reasons that people have told me that they don't like me. Mm-hmm. And one of the reasons was I have been told several times, I don't like you because you're light skinned. And I said that, and that offended people because they thought that I was somehow, in saying that it was something
as a negative,
like it was something positive, you know. Mm-hmm. And ultimately, there is no way in the dissemination, the effective dissemination of white supremacy, that we would not have dark-skinned women who don't like you because you light-skinned and light-skinned women who don't like you because you dark-skinned. They have been very effective at that division.
Yeah.
So I was just stating a fact, but not stating I wasn't trying to legitimize it. Mm-hmm. It was just like, this is something that has been said to me.
Right.
You know, and it took me also a little bit to understand that colorism only works one way.
Right.
I don't know if bullying is the right word for what happens to light-skinned Black folks who feel like they don't belong.
Right.
Because that's the thing. Like, I get told, like, oh, you light-skinned, you're not really Black. But, like, I'm light-skinned because my great-great-great-grandmother was raped
right.
by James Uhl in Virginia. or in Maryland, I should say, who then subsequently had children every month after that for 12 months with other slaves that he owned. And he put his name on their birth certificates. And this means that I'm also possibly related to Robert E. Lee. I am light-skinned because my great-grandmother on my mother's side was raped by her boss when she was a maid in Grenada. So I just feel like we oversimplify in a way that feeds this white supremacist ideology instead of looking to each other to say, how do we starve it with love and loving each other? So, you know, I am not colorist. There are many times where I have had to consciously remove myself from spaces because these people don't know what the they're talking about. And they're like, well, you're black. You know, like this designer in Russia wanted me to be the face of her Africa campaign. I said, ma'am, the only way I can do that is if I am partnered in equal level with a dark-skinned person from the continent.
Right.
And they were like, ugh, you're just doing too much now. We don't even see race.
Don't you just love that one? Want to join Club Shay Shay? Become an official member by hitting that subscribe button, where you never know who's going to be joining us for drinks and conversation. Don't be late to the party because you know we like to do something before two something.